Direct from Foxborough, Massachusetts, the gem of Norfolk County, and taped at the studios of Foxborough Cable Access. It's Foxborough Central. And here's your host, Bob Hickey.
And welcome to another episode of Foxborough Central. I am Bob Hickey, your host, and I thank you for taking the time to join me and my guests as we talk about the people, events, and organizations that make Foxborough truly the gem of Norfolk County. Now, when I say Foxborough, we all have to really understand that Foxborough encompasses the region. So Foxborough itself is a great town, but the Foxborough area is really a special place. We've got all the surrounding towns, natural resources, forests, entertainment. And we also have great education, schools, both colleges with Dean, Wheaton, but let's drag it down to the real nucleus of who our students are as they enter adulthood. Right, CJ?
You're right, Mr. Hickey.
You're on the verge, the cusp, if you will, of entering adulthood.
I don't like to think about it, but yes, I am.
And the last 4 years of your life have been spent learning, doing, becoming educated at school, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so that's why we're here, folks. We're here to talk about one of those schools, a great resource to our region. It's the Southeastern Regional Vocational School. And why am I so excited about it? Because I had the opportunity, along with one of my great volunteers at the Maryland Robbins Center, Bob Seitman, to attend a presentation this past week at the Southeastern Voc. And it was all about the arts program, the program that my other guest, Christopher Croson-Sills. How are you doing, sir?
Absolutely, good to see you.
He
Bob.
is the director. What is your official title out there? Teacher?
So I am a video production instructor and English teacher and drama director at Southeastern Regional Vocational Technical High School.
Absolutely, he does all those things, but here's the other thing he does, is he creates vision and then brings it all to life on stage. And one of his fine pupils is also the lighting guru for the current set of productions, CJ Giagrandi. How are you doing? Foxborough's own
Yes,
CJ,
sir.
how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Good to be here. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Been a long time since you were one of my little volunteers, umpires, right?
Yeah.
So you've grown up to be quite the young man here, and that's why we're really here to talk about, because there's a couple things that I would like to touch on. First of all, the reason why these gentlemen are here is because there is an upcoming production of the Southeastern Players, which is the title that you've given your group. Mm-hmm. And they are doing two shows. Going to be, one of the presentations is going to be at the Orpheum Theater here in Foxborough. The Southeastern Players are going to be bringing Little Prince and Almost Maine to the Orpheum stage at the Maryland Robbins Center, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
We're very excited about that, and that's what one of the messages here is. So that will be on Friday, March 2nd at 6:30 p.m. at the Orpheum at the Maryland Robbins Center. And so people should be encouraged to purchase tickets. They're on sale online. Go through the Orpheum website, call the box office. That is a really cool message to get out there. I really want to talk about that, because my first introduction to you two, and particularly Mr. Croson, was the Crucible, which was a play, and it was actually your dad that made the connection with us. He introduced me to your idea and brought you out to the theater. And so your dad, Ken, we'll give a big shout out to him.
Yes.
And your whole family has been part of the theater over the years, and so
Yeah.
it's great to have him continue to be part of what our new chapter is out there.
Yeah, really all my family has, both my mother and my father have really tried to help me in everything I've tried to do in any aspect of my life, so I'd like to thank them. They've really helped me a lot, and I think this was sort of his magnum opus in a way, getting you two together and really solidifying this partnership, hopefully for years to come.
Well, you know, and it's a great turn, because I think, as with every chapter, in a positive way, it should build upon the next. And from our simple introduction, you brought, actually after it had already concluded its run, the Crucible at Southeastern, and you had a successful run. And the Crucible is not what I would typically think of when I say high school play. You have your set 10 that you think of, and then you get a little darker, deeper. The Crucible is not your typical play. What is the challenge, and why did you choose that one?
Well, the nice thing about the Crucible, number one, is that it's a part of the curriculum. So there's an educational aspect to putting on a show like that. But I think that the kids wanted to do something a little more mature. And I think that having just taken over the program, I think that it sets the program in a direction that I feel that the kids have been really striving for, which is a more mature direction that hopes to give them a real theatrical experience. And they jumped at the opportunity to put on that show in such a spectacular fashion.
And I'm going to say this, and not a word of a lie, that was such a moving experience to have those students come in, and to a single one of them, they all seem to really embrace what we were trying to accomplish, which is create that partnership. And they far exceeded anything that I could have envisioned as far as ownership of the process, creativity, really being part of it. And that's, of course, to your credit to allow and encourage and provide the opportunity for them to have that type of ownership. But the maturity level, and with you with the lighting, you embraced my 1979 technology, and you kind of owned it, and you created something special. And I still have the filters on the screens that you did for the backlit. And for those of you who didn't see it at home, you missed something special. But it was a very simple set, yet moving, because it was all black blocks and a hanging jail cell, and then backlit with blue lights with patterns on it to simulate that jail cell. That was so creative.
Yeah, I think so because of the difference of the space, I did it a different way at the school, and when I came to the Orpheum, I had to really go, okay, how are we going to transition this, not only tangibly, but also have the same emotional reactions that we got from the school in your stage. And I really think that, I'd like to think that I did a fairly decent job at that, but it was really, Mr. Cross and your advice and the other Bob's advice to really help get the whole show in general to where it was and where it needed to be.
I tell people that, the Marilyn Robbins Center, the Orpheum Theater, we can have the best facility and we can have the cleanest bathrooms, but if there's nobody in there with product, if there's nobody creating things that people want to see, then the whole venture is a pointless exercise. And that's why it's so exciting to have the Southeastern players come in and make us part of your curriculum, make us one of the stops in your way. And that brings us to, you had mentioned part of the English curriculum and you mentioned part of the education. So Southeastern Vocational Regional is a school, it's publicly funded, and it is an option for people who are entering high school here in Foxborough. We're part of that, region. And Steve Uden, one of our longtime friends here in Foxborough Central and a man about town, he's on the board of directors. He's our elected member of the Southeastern Board of Directors. So for that school committee, I'm sorry. And so he has been a longtime advocate, and I'm so happy that you're here so we can give a little face and function to this school, because here in Foxborough, Easton, although it's only 2 towns over, there's a distance. So it's sometimes a bit of an education just to share that, this is an opportunity for education that is strong, it's vibrant, and depending upon the student, it may be far and away a superior opportunity than some other schools and some other opportunities. So, and as I said, I was out there on Tuesday and I was blown away by what you have there, from your theater to the post-edit suite to the television studio to a lot of the digital photography. I mean, you have a whole program out there that I don't think I captured. So maybe we could touch on that a little bit.
Well, I think we're very lucky, and I have to say that when we look at what schools are doing now, cutting the arts and cutting back, I think that one of the things I can say, I've been honored to be at Southeastern Regional for 10 years, and one of the things I can tell you about them is that they have such a vested contribution, they have such a vested interest in seeing the arts succeed. Our superintendent and our principal, Lou Lopes and Dave Deegan respectively, are both incredibly supportive of the arts. And their question is always, how can we get it better? How can we move it forward? So they're willing to invest the time and the money in seeing it succeed. And that's a huge thing. And that's such a great opportunity to give every single kid. And again, looking across the country where people are cutting back on education, Southeastern is really doing a wonderful job of investing in education, giving kids a choice to come here and learn a career, but also get a traditional education. I mean, that's the thing that people are kind of misled about. You get a full traditional high school diploma at Southeastern Regional, and in addition to that, you also get to learn a craft. You get to learn something really special. And CJ has taken the opportunity to go into video production and to go into performance. I mean, CJ got into Emerson. CJ got into Emerson College.
You did.
Yes, I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And that's something that we need to talk about, because there's still a stigma that kids from vocational schools don't go to college, but we have one right here who's going to not just a college, but a really good college. And that's on his laurels, and that's on his education and on his ability. And that really says something about what we can do for kids. And I'm very proud of him for that.
Congratulations. That's an accomplishment, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a little it's a little nerve-wracking for me, to be honest, because like you said, I've had for pretty much my whole life been under the tutelage of great teachers and my parents and all that other things. But when when I go to Emerson and go to college, there's the stigma of the college readiness, and Emerson is such a grand school in a way for people who want to be in my field of study. That's almost like, okay, now I really have to get to that level, and I really have to make sure that I stay at a consistent material.
That's a challenge we all face every day. Honestly, that's a great way of looking at it too, because it is a challenge. Life is a challenge, and every day you got to kick yourself to do a little more and learn a little more. So that's a healthy attitude. Now I'm going to share something he doesn't know. I already talked to his mom, and I knew he was going to Emerson. She disclosed that he'd only applied to one school. He was so laser focused on where he wanted to go and what he wanted to do. He didn't have a safety net. He didn't have a fallback. He knew what he wanted. So this kid is motivated. And I really respect that. I really respect that.
He's worked hard to get that, and he has great teachers like Kate Brown, who is the head. No, but Kate Brown, who is our video production, kind of the head of the video production department. She is such a dedicated teacher, and she has worked him to this point and made sure that he has the skills. I know he just mentioned college readiness, but I know that he is going to be ready to accept that challenge in the fall, and I know that he's going to be ready to really do some amazing things. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do. I mean, I'm going to revel the time that I have left with CJ, but I know that he's going to do incredible things when he goes to college.
Well, the important piece of any education is having the opportunity. So would you say that if you had it all to do over again, that going to Southeastern Vocational was the right move? Absolutely.
I think not only because I honestly think that under the guidance of Mr. Cross, my other teacher, Kate Brown, and also the music teacher, Mr. Terrio, I really think that they got me into Emerson, which is the college I wanted to go to. But I also think that that school helps not only kids who are in my vocation, but any vocation, whether it be automotive, cosmetology, or dental, or whatever. It helps them really do something that they love on a daily basis. And it really gives them the skills and the training to not only do their profession in the real world, but also do any job. You have to learn employability, job readiness, how to do your taxes. So that school not only prepares you for a specific job, but also how to be an adult.
The business side of it.
Right, and I could never imagine doing anything other than go to Southeastern and learn all those great skills.
That's a strong word in support of, and I suppose now's a good time. If you want to learn more about Southeastern Regional, you can go to their website, www.sersd.org. Now, the Southeastern players are a phenomenal group, and as I mentioned before, they did the Crucible out at the Maryland Robbins Center back in December. It was well received, very mature. It was a superior play. And the one that is coming up now on Friday, March 2nd on the Orpheum stage is going to be two. It's going to be Little Prince and Almost Maine. Now, part of this is a big plug for the play, but also a plug for the program, because on Wednesday you're going to be doing these plays at Southeastern in your black box theater. So I've seen this theater. It's two sides of seating, and then they have a performing arts space, and then they have the walls. So it's really, it seems to be no larger than this studio here, which really creates an intimate setting. So for those of you who've been to, say, the Black Box with MS in Mansfield, it's that type of vibe. Absolutely. And it's a really interesting space, which is completely different than the feeling you get on the Orpheum stage at the Marilyn Rodman Center, because that is a 31-foot deep performing arts stage with drops, rollers, winches, lifts, the whole 9 yards that you would have on a professional stage, with the lighting options, with the sound. And so that's a whole different dynamic. So bringing that production to our stage is a really interesting change, because you have to make a whole new plan. And then this is all part of the festival. You're going to have to tell me what the festival is. But then the following day, on Saturday, you're going to be at Norwood High School at 9 o'clock in the morning. Yes. On a whole new stage and a whole different setup. So I see you're excited. I can tell. So tell me about festival. What is this about?
Okay, so the festival competition, Massachusetts Educational Theater Guild, or METG for short.
Nice. I'm going to write that down.
It's a competition where 6 or 7 schools go to one high school, and they perform a series of one-act plays. They have to be under 40 minutes, and everyone watches all of them, and there's a lunch break, and then afterwards there's an awards ceremony where individual actors are not only actors but also tech, crew, set design, a bunch of different shows are awarded for their excellence in those crafts. And then 3 shows move on to the next level of competition, which hopefully we will be able to go to this year.
And of course, but the competitive edge is one side. But one of the great things is that Massachusetts has one of the best theatrical high school organizations. The METG, the Massachusetts Educational Theater Guild, is one of the best resources for high school theater in this state and in this region. It's a strong connection, collaborative of teachers who work together. And the festival is this wonderful annual event. And you're right, there's a competitive edge to it. But one of the great things about it is that it brings, on next Saturday, March 2nd, there are going to be festival preliminaries happening all across the state, where 8 schools are going to go to these different sites and see quality theater. At our site, one of the great discussions that we had when we had the directors meeting was that there are 3 or 4 schools that have never done it before who are coming to our site. Nice. And they're excited because some of these kids also have never seen theater before. So for them, not only is this a great chance to meet other young theater artists, but it's their opportunity to see theater, to see 8 shows in one day. And you're right. God willing, there's a great competitive edge to it, but there's also a sense of community that comes from going to this guild festival. And you don't get that. And it's such an amazing opportunity for these kids to do that. And that's what I love. I love the kids going and meeting new people and making friends and performing their show for their peers, because this is going to be the most, your parents are love you guys, but this is going to be the most supportive and understanding audience that they will ever be able to perform for, because they get it and they're going to see you. And if they make a mistake on the stage, every kid in that audience is going to understand it and they're going to love them for it. And that's the best kind of audience that they're going to get. And that's what I'm looking forward to about Festival next weekend.
Outstanding. So that for the Southeastern players will be at the Marilyn Rodman Center on the Friday,
that's right,
March 2nd, and then on March 3rd, that's Saturday, they'll be at Norwood High School.
That's right.
And those tickets are available. Is it open to the general public, or is
it is
limited to the parents and the students?
No. You can buy it at the door. I'm not familiar what the price is, but it is available at the door, and all are welcome to come and to see it. A full day event. We're at 9 a.m. Last show is at 4 p.m. It's going to be a long, wonderful day for these kids. It's such a fantastic opportunity
That's great. And of course, tickets are available for the Friday performance. And part of this also, and I'm going to get to this, at the Orpheum website, www.orpheum.org, or stop by the box office, or call them at 508-543-ARTS.
Yes.
So one of the reasons why we came out to your presentation, which was really is a beautiful event, and was to give a check presentation. And part of that is the money that is raised through ticket sales, a significant portion goes back to the program to help support your program in the arts and create more opportunities. So there's a question in my mind is, what is the direction that you want to see your program go? Because, and I'll give you this, when I first met Mr. Christensen, he came out and it was just amazing to see the wheels spinning and him thinking that he could do and might do and what can we do and what could he do, and then he did. And the same kind of thing, you didn't know I was watching you, but when you came in here, you're also looking in this studio at Foxborough Cable Access, and we were talking about the grid and the ceiling, and because we were talking about some of the wonderful facilities you have at Southeastern, and then what is the next step there? So I'm always thinking, what's the next thing to do? And you seem to be forward-looking kind of fellow. So where do you see your program going in the next step?
It's funny you say that. My dad and I used to play chess, and he used to always say, you got to play. You don't just play the move on the board, you play the move 5 moves ahead. And that's always how my mind is working. So walking into this wonderful space here in Foxborough, I think to myself, what opportunities can we provide for the kids? And we chatted out there, and Southeastern has these wonderful opportunities for kids to have externships and co-op opportunities. And I look at the space and I think, wow, this would be a wonder. All I think about is, wow, this is such a wonderful opportunity for kids. This is such a great thing. I guess with the Southeastern players, because that's what I have the most control over. And I'm always asking that question, what is next? And I always tell the kids that every year we have to strive to do something different. We have to strive to push things forward. I do have to say this year has been the most change. Because with the Marilyn Rodman Center and partnership and a lot of other things, we have made a ton of significant changes. Mm-hmm. But I guess my view is that the Marilyn Rodman Center is central to the changes that we want to do. This year has been a lot of, and I mean this in the best way, you're so, and I want to thank you, Bob, for this opportunity and everything that you've done for us. I really, truly mean that. But my goal for next year is to really plan this out, because it's been great. We went to the Crucible, and then you and I sat in the lobby one day and set dates ahead. But now it's time to really, the step forward with the program is to look at the Marilyn Rodman Center for the great resource it is and the great artistic opportunities that are presented there, and to really sit down and say, what does this partnership really look like? What do we hope to accomplish together from this? How can our students benefit from that? And that's going to be a conversation with you. That's going to be a conversation with the school. And I mean, you've brought such a wonderful opportunity for these kids, and it's finding the best way to utilize that. That's going to be the goal for next year and for the foreseeable future, is how we define this partnership and how we utilize it. And I'm so excited to have that opportunity to bring Almost Maine and Little Prince over to the Marilyn Rodman Center, and to bring our spring musical over to the Marilyn Rodman Center, and then to sit down with you and talk about next year and the kids that are coming in, the kids that are coming back, and what the future together represents with you and with Foxborough and everything.
It's very exciting, because when we took on, this isn't a program for the Marilyn Rodman Center, so my apologies if you think it is, it isn't. But one of the primary reasons why we created this project in the first place was to have that community resource and to be the space. And I think I mentioned earlier, I can have the cleanest bathrooms and the finest concessions, but if there's nobody in there creating and nobody in there actually using the space, it's an exercise that doesn't go anywhere. But to have this be a resource and have it be used, this is exactly what the vision is, to have it be a learning, teaching, entertainment, and growth portal. And so it's very exciting for us to have you come in and be part of this.
and not just in education. I want to applaud you for this. I know they're going to think we're plugging, but I mean this in the best sense.
We didn't do a pre-interview.
I have too many friends and colleagues in Boston who have watched theater spaces go under, or theatrical spaces that people have utilized close, and to know that Foxborough has something like this is a really beautiful and wonderful thing to have. And I'm so happy that Cam brought us together to give this opportunity to the students, but I also think that it's great for the community.
I couldn't agree more. And to that, please feel free to come out and support Southeastern Players. On Friday, March 2nd, 2 plays, Little Prince and Almost Maine. Information is readily available at the www.orpheum.org site. It's also available at the Southeastern Players site. Now I'm going to say this is on the screen. I'm going to say it once, and you'll just have to get out your pencil. So, do you have your pencil? Is it there? All right, here we go. sites.google.com/sersd.org/Southeastern Players. We're almost out of time. I'm going to give you both a chance to give the last word. You'll give the last word before he does, because you're younger and he's senior. But also because I really want to talk to you one more time about what your next step is. So when you go to Emerson with this 4 years of education, but also with this great experience you've had working for Mr. Cross and being a student of his and having all the opportunities you've had, what does the future hold for young Giagrandi?
Well, hopefully after I graduate Southeastern, hopefully my time at Emerson goes the way I plan it to, and I'm actually majoring in film production, so I hope to one day go out to Hollywood and either become a director or a producer making large budget level films in the industry that I love, and or work on special effects such as Skywalker Studios or ILM or something in that field, because I found over the past year that I really have an interest in special effect work and creating things out of nothing, which is very inspiring to me. So one of those two options.
Well, 5 years from now, we will welcome you back to Foxborough for CJ Giagrandi Day as we start looking at your body of work. And I noticed that T-shirt. You mentioned earlier that there was a show last year that was student written.
Yes.
Can you touch on that for just a second?
Sure. So last year, the competition that we brought to METG last year was called Haze. It was written by a then senior who has since graduated. And I actually ironically worked on the lights for that as well. I will be actually portraying the role of the businessman in this year's production of Little Prince, so I'll be on stage this time. But that's another thing that the school offers is you can really do whatever you want in a way. If you have if you want to write a show and perform it, you can do that. If you want to have a wacky idea for a video that you are really invested in, you can do that. We're actually working on TV pilots, which is sort of our magnum opus final video. Wow. And we had a widespread of incredibly talented ideas and imaginations come out of those TV pilot pitches. So you can really do a lot of stuff.
How exciting. And so all that under your tutelage with what you have going forward. The last word to you is something that I don't know if I necessarily want a last word, because I want this conversation to continue and want the relationship to build for Foxborough, for the region, and I can't wait to see what happens next for the Southeastern Players. So I'm going to give you the sort of last word. We'll call it an interim word.
I guess the only thing that I want to say is that we have such a dedicated group of actors and kids. You know, we talked about this off camera, but I talk about this all the time. You know, we have kids that are striving to do great things, and we're providing them with those opportunities with Almost Maine and with Little Prince, and just at the school in general. And I think that in times where arts and different things are being cut, and you know, kids have a choice. They have a choice of what they want to do with their life, and they have a choice of what they want to do. And CJ made a choice to come to us and to involve himself in this, and has found great success with that. And I hope that all kids have the opportunities that he has been given, and I hope that every kid takes full advantage of the gifts that they've been given and everything like that. And I'm thankful for the continued partnership with the Marilyn Rodman Center, and looking forward to everything that we're going to be doing with you guys.
This is just the first step in a long relationship, and I'm so excited to see what happens with you, CJ. Thank you so much for coming out and doing the show.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Mr. Chris Stills, and thank you, everybody, also for taking the time to learn about Southeastern, the new Southeastern, if you will, and all the things that they're doing exciting for the performing arts, and how they are really bringing something new and fresh and exciting to school, and how maybe that might be an option for you and your family. Also hope to see you at the Orpheum as they bring the Little Prince and Almost Maine on March 2nd to the Orpheum stage.
Yes.
6:30 p.m. showtime. Tickets are available through www.orpheum.org. Until next time, folks, we hope you have a wonderful week. Foxborough Central loves it when you watch us, and we also love it when you log on to fcatv.org and check out some of the other quality programming. On behalf of all the volunteers here at Foxborough Cable Access, have a great day. Take care.